played.
And here we go. The best time of the year has arrived. Wide. Luke Shen shoots. Tipped on net. Binnington was there. Fowler. They keep it in. A chance for Thomas shooting. And he scores!
Scheifele and Adam Lowry are out by the blue line. Look at those two out by the blue line. And now it's down low. Right-hand shot inside the face-off dot. What a shot that is.
Getting it over Buchnevich. Neighbors puts it on target. Mercy. Back to Connor. Down low feed. Scheifele scores!
Tap on the shoulder saying, oh yeah, man, me bad. Scheifele's trying to throw it across, and there's Suter.
Gibson all the way back. Shen shoots. They score!
Chance on this. Tips it down, skip, feed it to the point, get in front, and here's Morgan Barron.
The puck in front, a chance, and they score! It's Oscar Sundqvist.
Luke Schen's just trying to stop it to get it up to his stick, and instead right to Sundqvist, who he can't. Great pressure, and here's Luke Schenn tries to kick it up to his stick. And period.
All right, thank you, Scott. And second period action has begun. Ball takes it. Kyrou looks, shoots, scores!
Sundqvist does a nice job. Look at Sundqvist. And then he just moves his stick. Good screen in front. And you see it. Connor Hellebuyck's
left puck stolen. Here's Kyrou. He's in. Thinking to move it. Connor Hellebuyck.
Cross. Gets the pads down tight. Gets the stick down. The Jets have to come back. And the Blues are
down low feed. Perfetti. Connor shoots. Binnington, a terrific save.
Here's the shot. Knocks it down. Just comes across. Reacts. Pass comes across, he knows he's there, just go across.
Goal line, a centering pass off, he scores!
Binnington's reaction, it hits the side of the net, he has his stick there, but it goes off the side. And look at this pass by Mark Scheifele, spins around.
To Scheifele, Connor scores!
Look at this pass by Mark Scheifele, just out of the reach of Parayko. And they won that one. And look at Connor just slide back. There's Iafallo in front of the
net. Here's a chance and Lowry scores.
Guy back, he tips that. But there it is.
And that's going to do it. You can put it in the win column.
I thought it was great, and you know we go in with a power play opportunity and we don't score, but you know it was a heck of a save by Binnington, generate some momentum, and you know I just like that we didn't start cheating the game. The structure was there once we settled into the game, and then you know really limited their chances, didn't give up a whole lot, and you know I think that's a good blueprint for success of you know staying above their speed, you know controlling the tempo and playing fast.
To that point, what did you feel that your team did to lock in the defensive structure that you had that held them to just 2 shots in that period?
Well, I think some of it was reads on the forecheck, some of it was reads in the neutral zone, and then you know, like I said, we started playing a little faster. I think, you know, early in the game, you've got nerves. The building's buzzing. You know, guys are chasing hits, and you know, it's just the execution wasn't necessarily there that we come to expect. So, you know, I thought once we settled in, you know, the reads got sharp. The tracking was really good. Our D's gap was great. You know, Helly had some good handles that didn't allow them to get a forecheck, and you know, I thought we did a real good job of you know, starting to sustain some ozone time, and you know that was a heck of a play by Scheifele and Al going to the dirty area to get us back in the game, and you know, kind of the building erupted, and you know I feel like we seized that momentum, and you know what a play, you know, on that 4th goal.
Speaking of hits, how long did it take for their strategy to become apparent?
You know what, I think it feels like you know every year, game 1 or you know in each series that. You know, a bit of a bloodbath. You know, teams are both trying to assert their dominance, and everyone's amped up. I think, you know, our style of game is, you know, we want to be a fast, you know, forechecking team. Heavy, hard to play against, but you know, we don't need to chase hits. And you know, I think anytime a team's chasing hits, you can get them out of position, and you know, you move the puck quick. You communicate that a guy's coming. You can kind of avoid those, and you know, they played hard. They did you know a real good job of making it tough to get to the net, and it was a real tight game, and you know it was nice to come out on top of that.
What were testing you think? All that physical play, that was the plan.
You know what, I think they're a great forechecking team. I think you know that's part of their MO. You know they attack off the rush, they hit that second wave, but you know they try and turn over pucks on the forecheck, and You know, they've got some real physical guys up front, and you know, I think just trying to bring everyone into the fight. So, you know, I'm not sure, you know, if it was necessarily their game plan or not, but you know, I thought we did a pretty good job of matching it, mitigating it, and kind of, you know, settling into our style.
Season long, and to come into that third period down a goal but come out with the win the way that you did, what does that say about your ability to get it done now?
Yeah, you know, I think that's what you look for. That's playoff hockey. You got to play right to the last minute and right to the last second. And, you know, it was fun. The guys are buzzing out there. I didn't get a whole lot of action in the third, but it was really fun to watch and be a part of. And you know, it's there's a lot more.
What did they do, to help you just only face those 2 shots in the third as they did?
You know, I thought we just continued with our details, continued putting the pressure on, getting the puck deep, and not turning it over in the right areas. And you know, when we're holding the puck the whole time, it makes it like that.
Connor, what did you see on the Kyrou breakaway?
You know, he kind of drove wide. He had a couple options, but he kind of looked like he was trying to use his speed, try to get around me. And you know, in that moment, I was just kind of trying to smother him because he got a little tight to me, and you know, stuck to me.
What's the mindset on a play like that? You guys are down 1, and obviously 2 becomes an even bigger hole to climb out of. And in retrospect, that was a huge save at the moment, right?
Yeah, in one of those types of games, there's not a whole lot of action. There's not a whole lot of feel. You just know you're going to have to make at least one big save, and that's going to be the difference maker. And I thought that was it. That being said, like I felt good all night. I was just waiting to get some action, and you know, I thought we were controlling the play pretty well there. So we played great, and now we got to move on to the next one and continue to do it.
When they got chippy there at the end, Jordan Bennington started skating up to the blue line a bit. Did you make eye contact with him at all for something, or no? Didn't see it.
A goalie fight in playoffs would be dumb. It'd just be dumb.
Connor, speaking of difference makers, what makes Kyle and Mark so dynamic together?
You know, they're just 2 elite players that see the game so well. You know, there's guys with a ton of skill, and then there's guys that are smart, and you know, they kind of have both. And when you put them together, they use both, and that's what makes them so elite together. And then you throw, I mean, really anyone you want on there, but AI is doing a phenomenal job of just getting pucks, great stick play, and you know, driving the net. And when G's on there, and you know, he adds a whole nother dynamic to that line. So you know, they're just deadly and fun to watch.
Connor, was that a tough first period for everyone to play in? Like that, you get the sort of chaos of the crowd, and it seemed like the puck was bouncing all kinds of weird ways. You guys get that strange one where you score off the deflected in past Bennington. Is that a tough game, and then it takes a while for everyone just to kind of settle in?
You know, I think the first game of playoffs is always kind of like that. There's so much adrenaline. Who knows who slept last night, honestly, because you look forward to this one all season long. So I think our crowd just was phenomenal and brought it tonight. And, you know, really helped us get the momentum when we needed it. And you know, when you're in a game like that, you just use it, you feed off of it, and you continue shift after shift and continue with your game.
And just to that point, you've heard MVP chants at times. I don't think they've ever been as loud as they were kind of pregame today. I mean, does that give you an extra, not that you probably need to get an extra boost for a game like this, but.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's one of those things I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. That was really cool. Yeah, that gave me a little boost and a little excitement into the game, and you know, I'm happy we pulled this one out, and now we move forward.
To the point you were making before, Adam thought that the team was maybe a little tight in front of the crowd, and how could it not be with them being how they're? How did your team find a way to use that, you know, rather than let it overwhelm you as the game went on?
You know, I think I liked a lot of our game. I think maybe 1 or 2 breakdowns and a lucky bounce here and there, and you know, that got them their 3 goals. That being said, like, we continued with our game. We never panicked, and we showed our details, and they prevailed, and that's what we've been doing all year long. And I don't expect us to change anything.
Were you kind of just hoping that the game could go in at 5-on-5 for a little while there? Because it seemed when it did, you were more or less in control of it.
Yeah, you know, I think just as the game progresses, as a goalie, you just kind of go with the punches, and whatever happens, you just make the best of it. That being said, like, as a team, I think we're ready for any moment. And yeah, some 5-on-5 play would be nice, maybe a power play, and you know, that's where it's fun. That's where the crowd gets into it.
Finally get one to go by at a great time there, but just maybe take us through the thought process when you're getting such great looks and goaltender seems to, at least early in the game, have your number.
Yeah, you just got to stick with it, you know, stay positive, knowing that you're doing the right things, getting the chances, and, you know, a lot of plays like those cross ice plays or even the one Fetz hit me on the power play. Usually I'm trying to get that off as quick as possible. A lot of holes in the goaltenders if you can, and it was obviously a great play by Scheifele. Just try to get off quick.
Mark, that great play puts you alone on top of the franchise playoff all-time scoring list, passing your good friend Blake Wheeler. Just what does it mean to hold that record and to do it in such a dramatic way?
Yeah, it's obviously really cool. Obviously it's cool. To do it in front of the fans tonight was pretty special. That was a fun game to be a part of. Had a fun time.
Clearly, at some point, your team locked in your defensive game, but your line specifically seemed to lock in that offensive zone, long possession, churning, kind of grinding them down style of game. What did you guys think that you did to get to that?
I thought, the first period it was I don't know what it was, but kind of feeling out for both teams, and I really thought the second period we got to our game, like you said. That's Winnipeg Jet hockey, where you're rolling around the O zone, getting possession, early changes, getting the next line out there, and keep doing it, hemming teams in. And the rush really wasn't there. I thought they did a great job of their F3. Obviously we talked about that, and they didn't want to give anything up. So just getting to a neutral zone, being simple, the play's there. If not, make those deep turn and get it back on the forecheck.
Kyle, when you're waiting for the pass from Mark, do you, as he has the puck there, having played with him for so long, kind of have an idea of what he's thinking, where he's going to be looking to pass, just the chemistry between you two?
I'd like to think so. Yeah.
And Mark, could you make that pass to Kyle with your eyes closed? It seems like you always know where he is.
He's absolutely fantastic. He's a real pleasure to play with. I've said it many times. I'm lucky to have spent as much time with him as I have, and tonight was another fun night playing with him.
Ken, then Murat.
Kyle, what's Al brought to that line?
Yeah, you guys seen it right from day one, and obviously last year too. We played with him, and he can do it all. He's he's such a big asset for our team, and he comes into our line and doesn't change a thing. Plays the same exact way. Wins a ton of battles. I think he's one of the best defenders on our team. He back checks really hard. Great stick. Seems like he's knocking the puck down every chance he can get, and he's got a knack around the net, and you see that with the past 20 games or however long he's been with us, and it translates to playoff hockey.
Very quickly, how would you describe the save Connor makes on Kyrou? Point of the game and what it meant in the overall end result.
Yeah, big save in a big time. That's Helly for us. He's the backbone of this team, and that was a tremendous save, and obviously had a big point in the game. So kept us in it, and played awesome tonight.
Right.
Kyle, this almost reminded me of that April Blues game here in the regular season where you guys just stuck with it, and you eventually found a way. What does it say, I guess, about your group and the confidence that you have that when you do that and you never cheat the game and you always do it, there's going to be a moment for you?
Yeah. We talked about it in between periods. That's got to be our game no matter what. It may not bounce our way that night, but, over a 7-game series, we like our odds, and we've kind of shown it throughout the regular season. When we're playing that way, it's tough to play against, and we're able to generate offense as well and score.
And then, Mark, you've said this already, and in a lot of different ways over your career, but when you're making a pass to Kyle and you know that you don't need to get him too many before he's going to score, can you put into words the confidence it gives you as a playmaker just knowing that he's on the other end of it?
Oh, it's amazing. It's all I want to do is put the puck in his hands, and he does some fantastic things. Like I said before, I'm lucky to play with him. He's absolutely fantastic. He shoots the puck fantastic. He does so many little things fantastic, and like I said a million times, he's amazing to play with.
Jake.
Scott, it was a game that you guys really had to stay tenacious in, going down in the third period, down by a goal, don't score on the immediate power play that you get, and yet you found a way, which sounds like something we've asked you about during the regular season too. How important was it to start game one that way?
Yeah, thought the first period we looked real nervous. Just kind of trying to find our way, kept going, and built it up in the second, but then stuck with it and really played well in the third. But we had talked about as a group that you know, you don't know how long these games are going to last. They could, you know, go be 3 periods, or they could go into overtime. You have to stay in the moment. You know, and I thought we did a really good job of, you know, that first period. It was a little bit wacky, and we were a little bit sloppy. And then all of a sudden, you know, the second period, we started to do some things that we had talked about. Got some zone time, started to create chances, and then it kind of built towards that third, and you know, it was a real good third period.
Did you sort of get the sense on the bench that, you know, Kyle Connor was finding his space and that this was going to happen in time, or did that third period by them kind of come out of just their star power, I guess?
Well, I mean, that's one thing about, you know, the best players or the top players, especially offensive guys. They have a knack for finding holes, for finding ice. I thought KC had a lot of puck possession in the second period. He didn't get that shot off a few times, and just felt in the third he really got in his head that he was going to fire pucks. You know, Bennington made a heck of a stop on the one, but that's one thing about KC. He'll continue to shoot pucks and continue to grind to find those holes.
Scott, how would you describe the way that line embraced the matchup with Thomas as well?
Yeah, they've had it a couple times this year already, so it wasn't like they hadn't had it before. But again, that's a real good line in the St. Louis side as well, and real dangerous. But that's part of kind of what we have talked about all year long about. No matter who you are, there's a way to play without the puck, and the buy-in that we've gotten from, you know, our top guys has obviously helped us have success defensively. And that was a good match. They had some looks. That line had some looks, obviously, and but that's what it's going to be. They're going to have to do it. Could be possibly 7 more or 6 more times. So, you know, when you go head-to-head against top players, you have to be at your best.
And then too, playoffs can also be about unsung heroes. How would you describe the way your fourth line was able to contribute for you today?
Yeah, that was a big goal. Obviously, you know, kind of really got the crowd into it. Not that they need to get any louder, but you know, it's going to be like it has been all year long. That, you know, it's all 4 lines, it's all of our D contributing. That we roll well when everybody is a part of it, and that's kind of what we got tonight.
That goal from Kyle and Mark, the fourth goal, it happened after, you know, prolonged cycle and, you know, throughout a game that was very tight checking, but, you know, Scheifele finds the seam. Was that another instance of 2 of your, you know, best players finding a way to adapt and evolving through the course of a game?
Yeah, we caught him on an icing, so that helped. And, you know, then obviously the big face-off win. It wasn't a clean win, but I think it was KC come off the wall to help get a piece of that. So he starts there, and then obviously had a face-off play on, and you know, they're not always, you know, they don't always get away with them, and there was a really good, just the whole sequence of it was executed perfect.
His final numbers maybe aren't what we usually see from Connor Hellebuck, but that save off Kyrou kind of late in the second and keeps it a 1-goal game. In hindsight, I guess, how big was that in your eyes?
Yeah, well, it obviously, like you mentioned, they kept it at 1 goal. You know, it was a big moment, just like Bennington's save. That was big. You know, we felt that was maybe the one that got us back into it. But that's what good goaltenders do. Great goaltenders do. They have one, we have one, and you know, I think at the end of the day, just ask our guy to make one more big save than their guy, and hopefully we come out in the right end of it.
In that first period, you mentioned maybe you guys were nervous. Obviously, a lot of momentum swings and lots of penalties. They came out very physical. Like, was there anything about that first period that surprised you?
I'm just only speaking about our team. I just thought we were a little bit sloppy. We were a little bit hesitant at times. We didn't execute very well, and I think that was the first game. There's a lot of pressure, and but then we got up and we calmed down and got back to doing what we do.
Talking about the pressure and the nerves, Adam said that he felt that out there. The Whiteout traditionally the last number of years has not been an easy place to get results, and I'm wondering if what you see tonight, the way your team reacts to that nervousness, is if you're seeing growth in this group, that is something they can lock in and take forward.
Well, we'll talk about it before game 2, that we need to come out and get going right off the bat. But sometimes that crowd, it's so loud, and they also, you can feel it. You can hear the oohs and ahs when we miss, or if there's a bad call, or if there's a missed call. It's amazing how that is so loud and it flows. And then if they got up on the lead in our whole crowd, everybody got a little bit quiet, but then they got themselves going again. So it is. There's an ebb and flow coming from from the fans, and but we've been through it. you know, and we've obviously had lots of sellouts here for, you know, especially the last part of the year, and hopefully that, you know, next game, period number 1, we're up and running right away.
Big Hog Hockey.
Big Hog Hockey. Big Hog Hockey.
Big Hog Hockey.
Hey, Big Hog Hockey.
Big Hog
Hockey.